Welcome back to the Author's Corner. My next interview is with a man who is so great with his words. I mean, you just have to hear for himself. A lot of you ladies and some of you men may know who he is. His name is GPA, who stands for Greatest Poet Alive. You get to know more about him and his name right now. Here's GPA.
The name started like this. GPA is short for the acronym or whatever the case may be for Greatest Poet Alive. And when I came up with the name, it accidentally wound up on my first book, The Confessional Heart of a Man, by mistake. Because it was supposed to say my real name, and it was supposed to say, AKA the Greatest Poet Alive. And supposed, sort of play on words funny, But when the book came out, they left my real name off, and that was there. So I said to myself, you know what? This might be kind of cool. Because with a name like that, okay, you already know you're going to get some flack. Even though I couldn't imagine it was going to be as much as it was. How many people were going to be as sensitive as they were.
Right.
But you're going to get a lot of notoriety. Some people are going to notice you, and that's going to be a good Google thing. And people are going to get opportunities other people may not get. Even if you're just pretty good, they're going to be like, well, let's see what he's all about. So, in my first year performing and writing, when my book came out, in 2009, I went through that and I said, you know what? I'm going to do something else because a lot of people would review my book. A lot of people would have me on shows and anything like that because of the whole Greatest Poet Alive thing. So I said, okay, I'm going to choose something else to go along with it. And I'm a Criminal Minds fan, so I came up with GPA, the poetic unsub. Unsub being the bad guy. Unsub being somebody who's always in constant movement and is trying to catch you. So GPA, the poetic unsub. Still the Greatest Poet Alive with the GPA, but the poetic unsub. You just call me GPA, that's cool. You know, that's where all that came from.
I love that. I love that. That's pretty cool, man.
Thank you.
And I'm telling you, that's definitely getting you notoriety. Just your name alone, because it makes people wonder, who is he? Let me find out what he's got. We'll find out what he's all about. And I'm telling you, it's getting you a good fan base here. So, how long? Huh? I'm sorry.
No, I said I'm trying. I try to, I try to keep myself on point. I try to keep myself out here. And the biggest thing with that was there are a million poets. You're on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
There are a million people who are poets or call themselves poets or who write poetry, with a million easily. And those are just the people on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to separate yourself somehow or another. Everybody can have some great poets too. They write very well, or they perform very well. So you have to have something else to separate yourself. It's like anything else. So I figure, hey, with the name, we start there. And being a little modest, I write pretty well. And I perform pretty well. So I just happen to have a name, and I happen to have a relentless nature about me that separates me from a lot of other people. So there we go.
Well, I read some of your stuff, and I'm in full agreement. You do write very well, and I like your writing.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
How long have you been writing?
Since 2007.
And pretty much so. And what got you started?
Well, I don't know if you know or not some of my background, but I was incarcerated, federally incarcerated, and I've always written poetry, but it was always like it was always just to women, you know. Yeah, I came up ugly kid, dark skin and all that. When wasn't cool to be dark skin, so I needed an edge. So I wrote poetry, oh, you so you're very pretty, I like to take you, stuff that right now I would look at it and I would squint up my face at, but it was enough to get attention here, there, and the other. And then when I was incarcerated, I got serious. I said I wanted to do something while I was incarcerated. And so in 30 days, I wrote my first book, the best-selling, critically acclaimed, The Confessional Heart of a Man. And it basically was therapeutic for me because myself, my childhood, and insecurities and what have you, and experiences that I hadn't been able to talk about or whatever, so I got them out in the book. And so from there, I just, with anything, when you start doing it enough, and then you start finding out that you're pretty good at it. You start, if you're a winner, you start wanting to get even better at it. You don't stop.
Right.
So from there, I crossed over into delving into erotica, and the funny thing about that is my erotica is not like everybody else's erotica. My erotica, you could read around some ladies, and they won't get offended.
Right.
You won't see certain expressions, offensive or vulgar, profane or whatever, that you might see or hear from someone else.
Right.
So I believe poetry is when it comes from a man, I believe poetry is a gentleman's language. I believe that. So I write every day. I use my status. I don't know if you've seen. I use my status to write. I write in my own rhyme book. I rhyme through SMS messages on my phone to a group of people who like to listen to me, my supporters.
Mm-hmm.
I rhyme every day. I do something just trying to stay proficient because I know there's somebody there who's writing too. And I don't want to fall off I don't want to fall off ever. Even when my physical's no longer here.
Right.
I don't want to fall off. I want to still be here relevant. Like, wow, read this here or listen to this, what he did. So.
No, you want people to be talking about you way after you're gone, which is pretty cool. I wanted to make a statement about the erotica, though. I guess if I can put in other words, you're writing more for the sensual than you are the sexual, pretty much. Is that
very accurate? That's very accurate because I believe the first, the sensual, with the base word, SDNS, and it comes with senses.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, like in my book, the book of 24 orgasms.
I love that name, by the way.
I believe in having sex. Please don't get me wrong, anything like that. I believe in sex. Sex is a good thing. But I believe from a man to a woman, and I'm a man, so from a man to a woman, I believe that the orgasm starts a long time before they're ever even in close physical proximity. I believe with a phone call, with a good morning, with a, hey, you look great this morning. And she comes back and she says, well, how do you know you didn't see me? Did you see me? And you say something like, if you're quick on your feet, you say, well, I have a good memory from when I saw you the last time. Or it's an intelligent yes on my part. I know I'm not wrong. And that way, you've already aroused her mental. You've already got her thinking, wow, he was thinking enough about me to say that I look good, and I look a mess, and then you come back and say something like, well, I doubt it. Then I bet you your mess is a pretty mess. Something, whereas it's complimentary, but that's how it starts, because you can't just lay your hands. I mean, we're men. Okay, let's be honest, we're men.
Yeah.
We're rough, hairy creatures. Okay, we're rough, hairy, big creatures.
Absolutely.
Our touch or whatever has to be preceded by soft words, soft thoughts expressed through those words, and building a foundation for the orgasm. So by the time you're with the woman, she has been moist, she has been aroused, she is receptive to whatever it is you wish to do with her, physically, sexually, because you have touched her senses. And that's my whole machination behind my writing.
Man, I just gotta tell you, man, you're deep, you're sensual. You're making me jealous. You making me jealous, man. I'm sorry, man. Now I gotta get my words tight. What's up with that, man? Get my words tight up. No, I'm just playing. But no, that man, that is deep, man. That's like straight up deep.
What the dude was saying, Revenge of the Nerd, he said, cause I grew up a nerd. I always read books, read comic books, hang around with my mom.
I still do.
Play video games.
Right.
We thought about that stuff. I mean, I thought about that. I like I said, it wasn't until, I got on or got a little bit bigger or I lifted weights or something like that, but hey, and dark skin came in and anybody gave me any mind.
Right.
But before that, these are just things I think. And my point of reference, HD, is different from a lot of poets. My point of reference isn't contemporary, and no disrespect. I always have to give this disclaimer. No disrespect disrespect to anyone right now. So many people are very prolific in what they do. But my point of reference is Langston Hughes with his brevity. 4 or 5 lines and he's done. You know, my point of reference is Wordsworth. Robert Burns, like a red rose.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeats. My point of reference is those poets, that use of language was a woman knew she was being courted. She knew she was being seduced without me having said, "Oh, I'm gonna stick it in you. I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna."
Right.
You
Exactly.
You know, okay. I mean, if I want to see that, I watch Cinemax. If I do that, and that's just me. Like I said, there's some people like that. That's cool. That's not how I write. That's not how I perform. So, I just think it's for me, and I happen to do, and it's doing too bad because a lot of people seem to like what I do. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
I'm gonna.
See, I sell books. You know.
Right. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you on the serious tip though. That's the way to be. That is definitely the way to be. That's definitely the way to write. And again, like you said, no disrespect to other poets, but I mean, you have it very deep, my man, and I really like that. And outside of the fact that you actually already answered my next question, what or who inspires your word, which is excellent. You know, which basically life. Looking at your relationships with women, looking at Cinemax, and then going into Langston Hughes, Robert Burns. I mean, you're one of the first poets that I've interviewed that paid homage to the poets of old. You know what I mean? That's wonderful.
That's because, like I said, we're so caught up in this, and now this is going to sound bad, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all.
Right.
Poetry. If we go back to the history of poetry did a couple of things. Poetry courted and aroused. That's all one category. And poetry enlightened. Even when someone was angry, they were able to use the words with enough passion that the person could get the gist of what they were saying. If they were being sarcastic or whatever the case may be. This era that we're in, what we call poetry, where people curse and use expletives, and I'm sorry. No. Because I did my research. Langston Hughes didn't do that. They could call somebody a name without calling somebody out their name. They could do that.
Yep.
They could use a word like a miscreant, or say that you were minuscule. You know what I'm saying? Or you have the intelligence of half of an amoeba, or something like that.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to get preachy, but that's just I'm very passionate about that. But that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from, and people don't do the research. I even took AZ. I'm gonna tell you something funny.
What's that?
I'm gonna tell you something real funny. You're gonna love it.
All right.
And I'm not gonna say the guy's name because I'm not gonna give him any credit.
All right.
But he took a shot at me. He went on. And he said, and I'm going to quote what he said. He said, "Yes, I heard that he said, yeah, you sell books. Yeah, you're kind of popular. But," and he said, "yeah, you don't curse and you use metaphors and similes. But I'm a spoken word artist, so I can touch the such and such." And I thought it was funny. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny because he described me accurately. He thought he was insulting. But everything he said was true. I am kind of popular, which I'm not ashamed of. Thank goodness. There's some people that like me. I do sell a nice lot of books. I do okay for a poet, but that's my own relentless nature, and I don't curse in my poetry. I don't. But anyway, I just had to share that with you real quick, because I can share a whole bunch of funny stuff that occurs to me, that happens to me all the time, but, I like your line of questioning, so I'm going to get back on subject.
Well, actually, before I get back to the question, I need to tell you this, though. Because this show is taped, and I love interviewing my authors, if you want to get a little preachy, if there's something you want to say, by all means, say it, because it's going to get on. It's not going to be edited out. Nothing. This is me and you talking, pretty much.
Okay.
So just don't even worry about that. So I need to ask you this question, Mr. Poet. When you're not melting hearts with your words, do you like to write anything else?
Yes, most of my work is pastoral. Um, I'm into this. I'm a little weird, so I write about how the sun merges into the moon. I write about how it snows. I write about how I miss my father. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote about how it was to be locked up. I wrote about how it was for my daughter to be in a coma for a month.
Hmm.
Dedicate poems to my brother, my mother. You know,
I don't think that's weird at all. I really don't. I mean I mean again, that's deep, my friend. That's very deep.
I write haikus. Listen, I am a lover of haikus. So I write haikus about anything.
Cool.
Sports, weather, video games. I write it. I just it's just funny. You see this whole love thing and sexual stuff just caught on and notice because if you get a chance to read the Confessional Heart of a Man. Matter of fact, when you inbox me your address, I'm gonna send you the Confessional Heart of a Man.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna send you a package.
I appreciate it.
The Confessional and the Book of 24 Orgasms. I'm gonna send you a package.
All right.
And you're gonna see, like, Rhea's my friend. So, and Rhea's been with me from the Confessional all the way through this next book I'm in, the Chocolate Rose too, and what have you.
In fact, in fact, before you continue on, let me go on to say it's because of Rhea we're talking right now, and I really appreciate her for that because I'm really enjoying the conversation. So go ahead.
Let me tell you. Let me say that, like I always say, Re-Elected Banks rocks. Along with Mary Rogers and there are a host of other people, but those primary two. And Rhea knows everybody in the literary world that needs to be known. So she's helped me tremendously. Otherwise, I'd be behind the curve. Yeah, I'd be on the other side of the curve. So she appreciates my work and sees my effort. And that's why I'm here. You're right. So thank you, Rhea. You should have said thank you. And I always respect her. But I just write. I love to write, but my primary purpose in writing some of the poetry I do is twofold. Number one, it's therapeutic for me. It's make sure I don't reach out and slap somebody or something like that sometimes, or I'm not too angry, or not anything like that. My hormones don't get the best of me or anything. But also, I love, and let me get my voice right. I love when women read and write my work. I love when they say that I made them feel a certain type of way. I love that. I mean, that's the whole purpose of writing. Besides yourself and doing the artistic nature for yourself, I love when women do that. Mm-hmm. It's even better, too, when guys do it, too. But I like when women do that. I like when they smile and they show up at shows and they look great. I like that. So please, ladies, when you hear this, keep on doing it. I like that. That's why I do it, HD. All right, I can get my regular voice now.
Oh, you're fine. You are fine. Because they also do, you mentioned the men. A lot of men should read your poetry too, because the thing is, it makes the men take notice of how they're treating their women.
Yeah.
And your poetry makes them take notice.
Thank you. I've had that, and you know what? This book of 24 Orgasms, I've been fortunate that there have been men who bought the book and liked the book and what have you. So I've had guys come up to me after a performance and, man, I like the way you did that. You didn't say this and say that. You did it this way, real smooth, like. I said, thank you. I had a guy come up to me, man. The guy came up to me and said that to me, and, that's been the thing. Basically, I've been really blessed and fortunate. I have God's gift, and in my hand, in my voice, and I'm just trying to bring His plan to fruition. I'm fortunate, and I got a great base around me, people who believe in me. And I was just marked. There are people who really want them just to walk in the room around me, and they believe in me. So that's why I kind of go hard the way I do, and try to be the best that I can. Because I owe.
Okay. See, well, like I say, that's what makes you a poet. That's what makes you a good poet, a good person, and all that meshes together. Now, I read the Chicago Sun-Times article too, by the way.
Wow.
And, huh? I'm sorry.
I said, oh wow.
And you know, from talking to you just now, reading your stuff, you know, that whole Langston Hughes 50 Cent mashup is very accurate. You know, so I'm sorry. I mean that. I tip my hat off to you, my friend, and I really that's real talk. That's definitely real talk. So you
Thank you
so
very much.
oh, you're welcome. I mean, the pleasure's all mine, brother. So that's not a problem. So my question for now is, do you have any advice for any young poets coming after you?
I do. Listen, take this very seriously. People are going to tell you that a book of poetry, you can't do anything in it. You need to do something. If you believe in your poetry and what you write, keep writing. Show up to open mics where you can perform at and perform. Get your money up. Have your income coming in with your work, your career, whatever the case may be, because initially you will need to support yourself while you're trying to get your poetry books, or whatever CDs, or whatever case you're trying to get it off the ground. So you're not disappointed, and you're not just putting all your eggs in one basket. You know, it's very good to have that. But in the end, don't pay attention to what people say to you, because they're going to tell you need to write urban fiction, and that may not be your thing. You may just be a poet. I don't mean just like that's all, but poet lane may be your lane. Stay in that lane. Get better at it. Be the best at it you can. Hear the noise, but don't listen to it. Go with that. Put God first. Be relentless. And write. And write different stuff. Don't fall into the thing you see some people when they write a certain way and you mimic. Find your style. It might be a combination of a bunch of other styles, and it was something of your own personality, your own personal life, experiences thrown into it. But find your own style. If you try to be unique as possible, and you can't lose that way. And if the worst thing can happen is if you have a few people that like your poetry and you feel good about writing or signing or performing, what have you, then you've done what you were supposed to do as a poet. You've done it. That's all.
All I want to know is, how can I be down? But enough about that. I digress. Coming up next, we're going to talk all about email scams, and I have a couple of statements from authors.